If you're clicking on this video, you've probably seen or heard the news about Assassin's Creed newest installment nicknamed Assassin's Creed Infinity, which in my opinion will totally change the whole entire Assassin's Creed franchise. And if we're being honest with ourselves, Assassin's Creed already been changing. I mean, if you go back to a game like Unity or Syndicate and then come back to a game like Valhalla or Odyssey, the games and the differences are just crazy. And though personally I wouldn't say there have been many changes added, the changes that have been added make a huge difference. Like the open world map, we didn't really get experience to this in maybe Assassin's Creed 3 or Unity or Syndicate, but we were maybe exposed to a little bit in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, especially with the aspect of sailing, which is also a shared trait in Valhalla and Odyssey. Another big change I would also have to add is the combat system. Now we also seen changes in the combat system going all the way back to Unity, maybe even before that, but Unity is as far as I can recall at the moment. Unity, you had the Phantom Blade, you could shoot all these darts if you wanted to do like a poison dart, the dart that makes somebody go berserk, all that kinds of stuff, as well as in Syndicate when you could go up and fly to places or like grapple up to places with your arm. But in Odyssey, they completely take it to a whole new level. Different poison powers, different I can take your shield away type of powers where I can just bang on the ground and just make everybody fall down. And another change I would have to add, it has to be the parkour system. In Odyssey, the structures in the buildings aren't really too close together, so going from one building to another as you would do in maybe Assassin's Creed 3 or before that, or some games after that, going all the way up to, I would say, Rogue, maybe if there was another game that had close structures after that, you could do that. But in the newer games from Odyssey and up, like it's just too much space where you wouldn't be able to do the parkour system. So the parkour system has definitely had a major change. And even though with all these changes, I can still call these games Assassin's Creed games because they still have that sort of feel, even though that we've replaced the Hidden Blades, the Templar and the Brotherhood aren't too much heavily in there. It still feels like an Assassin's Creed game in the mechanics, even though I would prefer it going back to how it was, where it was heavily Brotherhood, heavily Templar and Hidden Blade stuff, because that's what really got me into the Assassin's Creed franchise, that really made me fall in love with this new type of game, these new type of ideas that they're presenting. And I would be lying if I said I didn't see Assassin's Creed going in a whole entirely different direction. I mean, from the directions they were from the early games to now, the last three games feel like a totally different franchise. Like, I understand it's Assassin's Creed game, I still feel it in a sense, but it feels like totally new games with just shared qualities. And with the new release of Assassin's Creed Infinity, or the leaks that I have read, it looks like it's going to change into a whole new level. I mean, from this article from Maddie Myers, it says the next Ubisoft Assassin's Creed franchise will unfold across multiple historical settings. That is something we have not seen before, and it's going to have ongoing updates, which leads me to believe that it's not going to be a new Assassin's Creed game every other year where we would get a new one and new setting, have a whole new sort of story. It feels like this one is going to be, we get this and we're going to be stuck with this for a couple years, maybe waiting for the next big Assassin's Creed game, or maybe this might be the last one. Which brings me back to the topic of this is Assassin's Creed biggest change. Even with all the changes of Odyssey, of Origins, of Valhalla, and how it went from a open world game, how it had elements of Assassin's Creed, but it felt like an entirely different game. It still could go back to the components of Assassin's Creed, but adding all these new updates and these new settings, these new type of areas, and probably more characters, it's gonna feel like an entirely different game, maybe a different franchise, which in my personal opinion, I don't want the game to move that way. And like I said before, I always respected the old style of Assassin's Creed, and if it was my choice, I would like it to stay that way. But they're moving in this direction, and I'm hoping that they can still bring that old Assassin's Creed feel, even if it's across different sort of settings, if it's different characters, all these updates. I hope it's the same Brotherhood Templar feel. I hope it's the same Hidden Blade type of feel of Assassin's Creed game, the sneakiness, the stealthiness, the parkour. That's what I personally want in an Assassin's Creed game. That being said though, I still have confidence in Ubisoft's ability to give us that old Assassin's Creed feel. I mean, in the leaks, it did say that there are going to be multiple historical settings. So it's probably not going to be open world. It's probably going to be different towns or cities, sort of like the maps in Unity or Syndicate or Assassin's Creed 3, but it's going to be a whole bunch of them. And I don't feel they're going to put a whole bunch of open worlds in all these different settings, as it's going to be way too big of a map and way too much time to explore. So I feel like it's going to bring us that old feel of a closed, sort of enclosed city or enclosed map, but it's going to be multiple sites just in case you want that open world feel. Also in the blog, it states that there are going to be ongoing updates to keep players engaged, which leads to believe that if players feel like they want another feel of the game, if they don't like how the direction the game is going, they can express their opinions, and there's going to be an update as well how Fortnite does it well. I don't like this gun, take it out, they take it out, or they feel like this gun is overpowered, they take it out. Or how in GTA, oh, this car is too overpowered, or this vehicle or this thing is too overpowered, reduce it, okay, and they do something with that. So I feel like there's gonna be that thing of where, oh, I don't like this in the game, take it out. If a bunch of players say it. Now if one person feels that way and the whole other community feels a different type of way, then it's probably not gonna be an update to where, all right, we're gonna take that out. But if it's gonna be an uproar in the community or a whole bunch of people voice their opinions on it, I feel like that's gonna be something that they'll implement. Oh, we're gonna take this out, or we're gonna change how that works, which gives me confidence that if I don't like the way that this game feels and there's a bunch of people who feel the same way, there's going to be some change to it. So if it feels like an entirely different game, not in Assassin's Creed way, they're going to make sure to make it feel like it's an Assassin's Creed game. And again, these are just leaks or just rumors going throughout the community in the early stages of the game. So we'll probably hear new information about the game probably later in the year or next year. We don't know how long it's going to take for them to get information out, but information that's coming out now may not be final or may be tweaked a little bit. But yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Express how y'all feel in the comments, like or dislike, just to show me how you feel about the video or the ideas I talked about. If you like the video, subscribe. I don't usually do this type of content, but depending on how well this video goes, I'll make sure to go back into this field because I really like just commentating and talk about how I feel about the game. But yeah, that's the video. I'll see you on the next one.